Hi everybody, my name's Tania Shipman and I'm from Simple Solutions today. Hayley has invited me to come along and talk to you about how to get started when you want to hire a virtual assistant. So first of all, you have to know what a virtual assistant is. Wikipedia has a great description. A virtual assistant is generally self-employed and provides professional, administrative, technical or creative, social assistance to clients remotely from a home office. That means they work for you in their own home. So they are independent contractors rather than employees. You're not responsible for any employer-related taxes, insurances or benefits. They provide their own office space, equipment and supplies, and you pay for 100% productive work, and you can work with virtual assistants individually or in a multi-VA firm to meet your needs. So in effect, you're not actually hiring somebody to work for you. You're hiring their time to work for you. You're not having to pay taxes or insurance or benefits as it said. You are just simply paying, I want you to do 4 hours worth of work for me, and you pay them for it. So where are you now? We had a failure with the way that we could record the webinar, so I'm doing it after the call that you had with Hayley. So I'm just going to go through some of the options of what might be holding you back from hiring your first virtual assistant, or if you've hired a virtual assistant in the past and you haven't had a great outcome from doing it. So you may be too scared to even start, not confident about what you do or where you start. You tried it and it didn't work and it just seems too hard. So if you're too scared to even start, it means you haven't really sat down and worked out what you need a VA for. A virtual assistant can help you with a lot of things, but if you're too scared to even start because of horror stories you've heard, or you're not sure what you can do with them, you need to be sitting down and deciding if you need a VA, and we'll be talking about that in a little while. You might not be confident that you can manage a VA. Having a virtual assistant means that you actually, in the beginning, have to do more work than you currently are doing now, because you have to train them, you have to teach them what you like and you don't like. So if you're not confident, try and get some confidence, because you already do pretty much everything that you're going to want to give your virtual assistant. It's just going to be a case of writing down some checklists, organising some videos, or recording some audio and being able to talk to them about, this is what I need you to do, and also being confident to give them feedback. I didn't like this for these reasons. I want you to do it this way. Maybe in the past you've tried it and it didn't work. You had yourself a VA and you weren't really sure what to do with them, and it just seems that you spent money and didn't get much from them. You were either always fixing up what they did, or they didn't do it the way you liked it, or it was just not right for you. You didn't even like the person really, or they kept asking you for money and not providing any results. There's a lot of reasons why it might not have worked, but I'll go through some ways that you can make sure that the next time you hire your VA, you get a great result. And finally, it just seems too hard. Just keep on doing what you're doing. The only problem with that is that you can only do so much in a day. And there's a lot of work that is just repetitive, boring, but necessary to your business. So if you can find somebody who can do it all for you, that means that you can then concentrate on getting your work done, building your business, working on the things that actually bring money in, while all the stuff that must be done to keep your business running, accounting, filling in forms, filling in paperwork, can be done by your virtual assistant. So hopefully that's touched all of you about where you are now, and let's move on. So do you actually need a VA? That's a good question, and that's why I've put it on the PowerPoint for you. Okay, so you need a virtual assistant if you've got day-to-day admin tasks that take up all your time, if you've missed deadlines because you've been trying to do everything yourself, if you've got routine work that stops you from being creative, if you're spending all your time updating your website or trying to learn CSS or HTML, or what theme will you have, or where's this perfect plugin. If you're doing all of that, you really need to start looking at some sort of outsourcing to help you. Your business runs you and you don't run your business. You seem to always be chasing, I've got to get this paperwork done, I've got to fill in this information, I've got to get this off to somebody. You're not actually running your business is running you. And finally, you can't remember when you had a day off. You just seem to be working on your business all the time. Or if you have managed to get yourself a day off, you spend most of the day thinking, did I do this? Did I remember to do that? Have I done that? If those are the things that are affecting you with your business, now is the time to start thinking about hiring a virtual assistant or some sort of outsourcing. So, number one, before you do anything with regards to hiring a virtual assistant, you have to get started. You have to make the decision. You have to make the decision that you're going to hire a virtual assistant. So, what can a VA do for your business? They can save you time, save you money, save your reason, build your business, and let you take time off. They can save you time by taking away all the things that take up too much of your time. They can save you money because they do the repetitive day-to-day stuff while you go out and chase the clients, while you are able to do your consultations. They can do your bookings. You just know to turn up and speak to somebody. They can save your reason. If you're finding yourself becoming frustrated, if you've spent days or weeks trying to figure out how to do something in your business, if you've hired the right VA, they know how to do it. Or you use another outsourcing company that will do that small amount of work that you want to do. If you've spent a week trying to figure out how to put a header on your website, or if you have been trying to figure out the perfect plugin that will make it look just like somebody else's website, and you've spent weeks trying to figure out how to do it, that's weeks you haven't spent on making money and being creative and getting clients. So that's when you really need to start thinking about saving your reason. Stop trying to do it all yourself and find somebody else to do it for you. It allows you to build your business. Your VA can do all the things that you just need to be aware of, but you don't need to do. They can do most of your customer support, because it might be, where can I find this? How can I do this? I bought some software. Where is it? I'm waiting on my delivery. When is it due? You only need to be involved in customer support where it's really urgent information, or it's something that's gone really badly wrong and you want to be able to fix it for them. It's the same as with a lot of the other repetitive tasks that you get them to do for you. You only need to check, is it done properly? If they've done all the work, if they've collated all the data, if they've got all the receipts together, you just have to go and look through it. Is there anything that's been missed? No, it looks fine. Send it off to the accountant, send it off to the tax man, wherever it may need to go. And it will allow you to take some time off. If you've got a good VA, you can actually have a couple of days off, knowing that only something that's incredibly urgent will allow your time off to be interrupted. Your virtual assistant or your outsourcers will be looking after it for you, and they'll know if they need to call you. So what can a VA do? Virtual assistants can do your business administration, which is all your office accounting type office admin type tasks. They can do your accounting for you, even if it's just getting all your receipts listed in a spreadsheet, so that at the end of the year you can give it to your accountant so he knows what you've spent on your business. They can do your social media for you. They can be posting into Facebook and Twitter for you. They can be keeping an eye on your Facebook pages and your Facebook groups. They can be putting things on Instagram, adding things to Pinterest. There's so many social media out there that having a virtual assistant who knows what you like to post to means that you can say to them, I want an image, put it up for me, let it get going. Now, they can also do basic website maintenance. You might have a VA when you hired them that you asked that they at least understood WordPress, and they could create some basic pages for you or put posts up for you that you could then work on. You can also get them to do customer service, and I talked about that a little while ago, where they handle the usual inquiries that come in. It's anything that's important, urgent, a complaint, a problem. They know that they forward it on to you. But if you think about it, most of your customer service questions are often repetitive. They're the same question being asked by different people. So you train your VA to know what to answer if asked this question. If it's outside of the list of questions that you might have given them, you pass it off. You get them to pass it on to you. They can find images for you, they can resize them, they can put your logo on them, they can do all sorts of things. They can create a little database of free images that are available online. The one thing you have to make sure of with images when you're working with a VA, that you make sure that they're getting them from sites that have what's called Creative Commons Zero. It means that you can use them for free and you can use them for commercial purposes. It's a little basic thing, and I've got some information about that if you're interested in that. They can help you writing blog posts or finding images to put into it. They can go in and do all the prettying up, putting in some headers, putting in bolding and dot points and all those sorts of things that are just prettying up, but might take more time that you've got or more skills that you've got. What you want with your VA is somebody who can do what you can't do, don't want to do, or don't like to do, or the big one, you really love to do, but it takes up so much time, it's really not worth it for you to do it. You save that for when your business is quiet. If you can give all of those things to a VA, you're going to really be able to concentrate on your business. So let's get started. We talked about that a little while ago. Let's get started. You have to work out what you need. And what I mean there is it has to be what you need in your business right now. One good example I use when I'm talking with clients is you might think you need a graphic designer. You'd like to have fancy logos made and all sorts of images and special effects and everything created by a graphic designer. But you don't actually need it right now where your business is at. All you need is a virtual assistant who can find an image, crop it, or add on a logo or a watermark, do some borders, that sort of basic stuff. A graphic designer is going to cost you a lot more than a VA who can just find images for you. So I might want a graphic designer. I actually just need somebody who can do some images for me. What I recommend to people to do is to write down a list of all the things that you do that you don't like doing, all of the things that take a lot of time, and all of the things that are repetitive. And again, as I said, all the things that you love but just take up so much time. Write down a big list and then start prioritizing. What are the most important things? What do I really need? So then you need to know your budget and how much to pay. And depending on where you base your VA, if you get a virtual assistant who's based in the Philippines, you're going to pay anywhere from $3 to $5 an hour, up to $10 an hour. If you're going to hire a virtual assistant who's in the US, you're looking at anywhere from $7 to $20 an hour. And then if you decide to go with what I call a web team, you might pay $97 a month or $100 a month, and you get a certain number of tasks that you can assign to a team. You might go with a VA company, and they actually will find you a VA, they'll assign them to you, they'll manage it, and you pay them a certain amount of money per month for a certain number of hours. So you have to know how much you're willing to spend, and also in time with that, you also need to know how much time you need from your VA. Some VAs will say you have to hire me full time, but if you're going to hire them full time, you have to have 8 hours of work 5 days a week for them to do. And if you don't have that, then you need to be thinking about, do I need a part-time person? Do I need a dedicated VA? Maybe I just need a team. It's better to start out small and grow big rather than to think that you're going to need somebody 8 hours a day and then find out that you're using them for an hour. And at the end of the month or the end of the week, you've had to pay them for 40 hours when you might have used them for 5 hours. So then you need to know where to find them. And as I've said, you have options. There are virtual assistants everywhere in the world. It's about what your needs are, going back to what you need, how good is their English. Philippines and India are quite good, and Pakistan are quite good because they have English as a language that's taught there, and they're much cheaper than US and Canadian-based virtual assistants. But their grammar and their understanding of US English might be a little bit different. Now then, the other thing is what you're most comfortable with, and also time zones. So just be aware of that if you hire a VA in another country, they might be 3 hours behind you, 10 hours in front of you. So there may be time zone issues in that you want them to work for you now. In their country, it's midnight and they're not going to work for you. So you need to screen your VAs when you're ready to get started. Depending on what route you've gone down, you may just be told, give us the tasks and we'll assign them to somebody. You might get your own dedicated VA, or you may have gone and hired your own through some of the online places that you can hire a VA. So once you've decided what you're going to do, really look into who you've decided to go with. Don't just presume that they know what to do. One seminar conference that I went to, I was talking to people and they just kept saying, I've hired a VA, she should know what to do, she's a VA. That's not the case at all. So speak to them, do a bit of research on them. If they're on in a web team or something, ask for testimonials. Have a look at what they've done with other people. Ask them to explain other jobs that they've done. And when they show them other jobs, say, what did you do here? You may not know the right questions to ask. If you're not sure, ask friends. If I was hiring a VA, how do I know that they know how to do mail merge? Here's an example. If they go, oh yeah, don't really know, they don't know how to do mail merge. They should be able to say, well, you know, you have Word, you get Excel, you can merge them together, you can create letters, you can create envelopes, you can create labels. It's about understanding the language of what you're asking them to do. Always start small. Start small with payments. Don't pay them more than a week in advance. Start small with the amount of work that you give them. Start small with your commitment to them. But just be aware that when you hire a virtual assistant, you do need to make a commitment. You need to give them a commitment of time, of making yourself available, and of being able to give them back feedback about what they have done for you. And finally, hire slowly. Make sure you're happy with the person you're hiring, and fire quickly. If after a week you've been spending more time trying to find them, you've been continually correcting them and they're not learning from the corrections, there's a difference from, I'd like a different type of font. No, I don't actually like that font. Actually, that font's no good. Hang on. Look, start all over again. To, okay, I want font A, and every time they send you information, they've done it in font B. You've told them on day 1, you've told them on day 2, you've told them on day 3, don't use that font. They're not listening to you. That's when you need to start looking at fire quickly. It's a bit scary to fire quickly, but just remember, they're nowhere near you, and it's much easier to say, I'm sorry, we're not working out, let's finish, than to keep on paying. I did that with one of my first virtual assistants. I kept on paying him. I knew he wasn't working out, but well, maybe it'll get better, and I let it drag on for months, and it cost me a lot of money. So don't make the mistake that I did. So the considerations you have to take into place when you hire your virtual assistant is that you need to try them. You need to train them, You need to know what you need. You have to make sure that their skills match their resume. With some VAs, you have to accept that they're just happy to do the job. You're an entrepreneur, you own your own business. If you see something that needs to be done, you get in and do it. With a lot of VAs, unless you tell them to do it, they don't even think about doing it. It's almost like if you're in an office and you walk in and there's filing everywhere and the office girl is just sitting there filing her nails. And you'd say, why haven't you got up and done the filing? And she'll say, you didn't tell me to. And that's what it's like a lot of times with your virtual assistant. So you have to be happy to have somebody who may be like that. You may get somebody who's happy to get totally involved in your business. And I have some clients who hate that idea. They want somebody who will just do what they tell them to do. So be aware of what you want from your virtual assistant. Language barriers and time zones, I talked about that a little bit earlier. Be aware of what level of skill you need for what you want done. It all comes down to your needs. If you're going to plan to have them write a lot of blog posts for you or create articles or help you with manuals or content creation, they've got to have really good English. You really do need to do some testing beforehand. Send them some documents and say, correct these. If they're not picking up on common errors that anybody who's a native English speaker picks up on, then that's just going to frustrate you. And one of the reasons we set down as to why you want to hire a VA is to save your reason. If you're continually upset or worried about what your VA might hand to you, then don't hire that person in the first place. And Finally, this is a big consideration, your high expectations. You can't hire a VA and expect them to get it right from day one. You need to have checklists and processes and systems in place so that they know what you want and how you can get it done. Now, I've got a blue background on this PowerPoint, but for me, none of it looks like totally baby blue. I hate all baby blue. It's just a personal preference. I asked a virtual assistant to create a website for me. I said I just want it to look blue. And it was all in baby blue, and I didn't like it. But it wasn't his fault, it was mine, because I didn't give him detailed enough information. So if you're going to hire a VA and you're going to get them to do things, first of all, be aware of what you want them to do, give them as much detailed information as possible, but be aware that your high expectations may get in the way. It may be that they have to do 80% of the job and you do the final 20% so that it can meet your higher expectations. But if you can save 80% of a task, that's 80% of time you have to work on whatever you need to work on for your business. So yes, have high expectations, but don't let that get in the way of hiring your VA. So what can you do now? I've just told you some of the things that you're able to do if you get a virtual assistant, what you can give them to do, how you can get yourself started, and some things you need to consider. So we're at the stage where you have to decide if you're going to continue doing it yourself. Maybe what I've told you has made you think, I really don't need anybody now, or I don't want the hassle, or after all of this, I'm still not confident, so you keep on doing it yourself. But keep in mind and start building up some processes and some checklists and some systems so that when it does get too much for you, which it should if your business becomes successful, that you can then consider handing it over to a virtual assistant. If you're not really sure, let's get a team for you. There's a team I used, it's called Web Support. I used them in the early days of my business when I was doing outsourcing. I would just pay them a certain amount every month, and I got a number of tasks that I was able to use on anything, and it was all set out very detailed. If I wanted a web page made, for example, it was one task or two tasks, and they would do the work, and if I wasn't happy, I would detail what I needed changed, and they'd fix it up, and that would all be part of the one task. So that allows you to dip your foot into the outsourcing pool and see if this is for you. And it's really handy for those really technical things like perfect example. My brother had a website and it was made on Joomla, and his webmaster just disappeared. And I had a look at Joomla and went, no, don't like it, no. So I said to my brother, we'll have to get it put into WordPress. And he had hundreds of images and he had lots of pages, and there was a lot of work involved in it. And I have enough experience with WordPress that I could have done it all myself. But we went to the team, and for an extra 30 or 60 units, which was about another $200 or $300, they moved everything into WordPress. They set it all up. I was able to say, change this, add this. They did it all for me. So for $300, we got everything moved over. Totally worth it as far as my brother and I were concerned. So as I said, that's an example of where you can be able to use a team without having to then be responsible for managing a virtual assistant. You can hire a VA firm. There's heaps of them available. One that I like is called 123 Employee. And you just pay a monthly fee. And then depending on your level of what you've hired and how many hours you need, they set you up with a virtual assistant. They manage her for you or him for you, and you just tell them what you need. The final one, and this is the hardest one, and this is why if you're just starting out, I recommend you go with the first two rather than get to the hire your own VA. You have to hire them. You're in effect doing an interview. You have to find the person first of all, make sure that they've got the skills you need, be happy that they can do what you want, are available when you want them for, and then you pay them direct. So when they ask you for extra money or when they disappear, it's all on you. I have my own VA, and I actually think it's a great thing to have, but I worked my way there. I talked earlier about starting small, so I started small and got a team, And then I worked for a little while with a VA firm, and then now I have my own VA, and he's excellent, and he can do a lot of things, so I'm really pleased that I've got him. Work out where you're at, and if you've got any questions at the end of this, I've got an offer for you to come and chat to me. So, as I said, if you're just starting out and really unsure, try the web support team that I was talking to you about. If you're not confident that you'd be able to manage your VA or what you want them to do, try a VA firm, try a VA firm, and the one I recommend is 123 Employee. If you're confident that you're able to manage a VA, and I really hope you are, and if you're not, maybe I can help you get there, look to places like Upwork, Facebook groups, and ask friends, do you know of a virtual assistant who's looking for work? Again, it depends on where you're looking for somebody. If you want somebody in the States, you need to probably go to Facebook groups to find out somebody who wants to hire out as a virtual assistant in the US. If you're looking for somebody from overseas, or they might be registered with Upwork, look to them. Or also, if you're going to have somebody from the Philippines, I've used online jobs to get a VA in the past, and I was quite happy with the process of how they did everything. What I will say is, do not use Fiverr for VA work. Use Fiverr for one-off small tasks. You don't want somebody on Fiverr to be given access to all the things that you might give to a virtual assistant. So that's my presentation on how you can go about hiring a virtual assistant. I'm very thankful that Hayley gave me this opportunity to talk to you, and I'm really sorry that because of the internet, there's some reason coming over to Australia, the internet sometimes plays up terribly with me. So that you get the opportunity to be able to ask some questions, you're welcome to email me. I've put all my details for you here. You can have a free consultation with me about how we can maybe get you started to hire a virtual assistant. You can email me at tanya@simpleSolutionsToday.com. You can go and have a look at my site and just see what I've got there. I've got some information on outsourcing and virtual assistants. You can talk to me on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Tania.Shipman, and you can Skype me. And my name is Tanny Louise. That's my mum's nickname for me. So I'm not able to ask if you've got any questions because of what happened, but you're welcome to send me any. You can send them to Hayley and ask Hayley to forward them to me. I'd really love to help you get started outsourcing, and I'm available at any time to talk to you about it. You can book with me to have a call, and even though I'm in Australia and we're in slightly different time zones, I do work a lot in US times. So I would like to thank you all so much for listening to this presentation. Thank you again, Hayley, so much for inviting me, and please, I'd love to talk to any of you about getting you started with a virtual assistant. Bye.